I love LEGO games, and chances are that if you're watching this video, you love them too. We've all had a thought about ideas that would make for a stellar LEGO game. Maybe it would feature one of your favorite movies, or it might shake up the mechanics for a fresh new take on the formula. Today I'm going to list off some of my dream LEGO games. Be sure to sound off in the comments what your dream LEGO game is. Before we begin, I'd like to list off two ideas that, while potentially the greatest concept for LEGO games ever, are sadly never going to happen. First idea, a LEGO Metal Gear anthology. The series has so many incredibly engaging characters, and a LEGO game would be the perfect game to bring them all together. Second idea, and my personal favorite, LEGO Fast and the Furious. It's the perfect series for a LEGO game. Tons of material to work with, an ensemble cast of memorable characters, iconic action scenes, and loads of vehicles. It's practically begging to be made into a game. Sadly, both properties have the hurdle of being too adult for the LEGO series. Even with its impressive talent to dampen any serious moment with a trademark whimsy, these two properties won't be hitting the big time, or should I say, the brick time. All of the LEGO movies are awesome, and their game adaptations bring something new to the table. While I appreciate the variety and the desire to iterate on the formula, it's a shame we couldn't play as these characters in a more traditional game. The nature of games like the LEGO Movie 2 and the LEGO Batman Movie Story Pack in Dimensions means that the more wacky and inventive characters won't ever be playable in a LEGO game. Each game also has a major issue with clones and simple variants that bloat the rosters. One way to rectify both issues will be to have a big anthology with all 4 movies in one game. Having the main cast of all 4 movies in one game, being able to travel to all the crazy locales and reliving through all the events would be amazing. LEGO City Adventures is an incredibly charming cartoon with an equally endearing cast of characters. Its cel-shaded look would look great as a game. Alongside this, the show has done the work of developing the world of LEGO City with interesting recurring locations and memorable characters. There's enough characters to fill a decently sized roster too. While I'd love to see a sequel to Undercover, I also think TT Games should give this iteration of the iconic city a shot too. I feel like TT Games don't have to get the license to the Fast and Furious franchise to explore a driving-centric LEGO game. Whether this is an entirely new idea or a remake/reimagining of the original LEGO Racers game, a driving-centric LEGO game would lead to an expansion of the driving mechanics seen in older LEGO games. 4-player races would be fun as well. LEGO Worlds was an ambitious title that had its fair share of shortcomings, but it ultimately turned out to be a successful game that achieved its goal of being a unique alternative to the crafting genre. While I have my own critiques and ideas that could fill a larger video on Worlds, I'd like to focus on one idea that could be the starting point for a sequel. Rather than taking inspiration from Minecraft, the sequel could iterate on Breath of the Wild's approach to open world design. Having one large pre-designed area combined with the original building mechanics could lead to a greater attachment to the game and its world. The formula has a lot of potential, and I'd love to see it grow in a sequel. What's more fun than solving puzzles? Creating puzzles with friends. I think having a LEGO game creator with the ability to share levels online would be amazing. Essentially an infinite LEGO game. This idea seems like the most unrealistic, as these titles have very complex level design. Finding a way to make the LEGO formula modular would be challenging, but rewarding if it ends up being both playable and fun. After the Skywalker saga, it's hard to see how TT Games can iterate on the DC, Marvel, Star Wars properties. While I'm not in a rush to see a Marvel Superheroes 3, I think a smaller scale title like the previous Batman games could be interesting. My general idea is rather than making a game centered on the entire Marvel pantheon, we have a smaller game centered on everyone's favorite web-slinger. Spider-Man's got a great collection of villains and allies to make a fun roster work. But what about the story? Well, I initially figured a collection of Spider-Man's best stories could work, but then I remembered the Spider-Verse sequel in the near future. Both of the films combined would have enough material for a full game, and the multiverse setup allows for a wide range of Spider-Man characters to join the roster. Whether it's a Spider-Verse adaptation or not, a small-scale game could breathe new life into these time-honored franchises. Some of my favorite franchises featured in LEGO Dimensions were the animated ones, due to their visual diversity. I think it's high time we got a game based on a cartoon. This idea is hard to work with due to the large variety of shows and movies to pick from. Some decent contenders include The Simpsons, Steven Universe, Adventure Time, and maybe Scooby-Doo. With the announcement of Space Jam 2 and the release of a collectible minifigure series, maybe we could even see one based on the Looney Tunes. While we're still on the topic of cartoons, there are many original LEGO properties that could work well in game form. It's been a long time since the regular Ninjago universe has graced game consoles, and a lot has happened to the franchise since its last solo game on the 3DS and even its appearance in Dimensions. Alongside Ninjago, fresh new series like Hidden Side and Monkey Kid have fun characters and exciting visuals that are begging to be in a game. Maybe TT Games could be economic and have a collection of stories and characters from these three franchises. I've explained before in a previous video how I'd love a 4-player LEGO game, but mentioned that making a co-op game with a story or IP can't afford it makes it challenging. However, there is one franchise with 4 leads that are incredibly unique: Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There's so much history to pull from. They could do a game based on the recent Rise show, or a collection of stories from fan favorite iterations. They could also do their own take and try new things. The sky's the limit with the Turtles. Also, having 4 main characters gives them an opportunity to make levels designed for all of them. Either a 4-player game or a TMNT game would be cool in their own, but together would be amazing. So many LEGO games revolve around big, grand adventures, with tons of bad guys to fight, worlds to travel, and quests to complete. While all of these things are awesome, it limits the scope of the LEGO brand. So what's a new kind of LEGO game that we could create that represents an unexplored, more relaxing side of the property? Here's my pitch: an Animal Crossing styled life simulation game set in LEGO City. Different from the previous game and show, this game would be a new take on the city with a cast of new characters. In this game, you take on a common job found in the city: a police officer, a firefighter, or even a construction worker. Each job would have its own type of gameplay, and you'd be able to volunteer for other jobs to see what they're like. When you're off the clock, you'd return back to your apartment and interact with your neighbors. You'd also be able to build furniture with LEGO bricks and give them as gifts to your neighbors. There would be tons of events that you'd be able to partake in, and you'd naturally be able to visit your friend's city via the internet. While I love the action-packed adventures of current LEGO games, you should get a chance to unwind and smell the plastic flowers. If you liked the video, leave a comment and tell me what you thought about it. Also, if you want to see more content like this, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification so that you can always know when I upload a video. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.